Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, and things adjacent. And if you are a progressive channel out there not covering climate change on a regular basis, you aren't all that progressive. Love the politics, all of us do, but none of it makes sense without the context of climate change, and none of it matters without the context of climate change. That being said, we're going to cover a little bit of politics today. We had the first in the round of 2,800 Democratic debate people on stage. So we have two debates last night and tonight. I actually didn't see the debate last night, and I'm not going to watch the debate tonight because I'm working. I work at night. Unfortunately, I just have to get the recaps, which is fine because I find most political, debates and speeches just beyond boring and nauseating with, people saying the same things over and over again and saying, mealy, mushy, American people have to win, we all have to work together, and, platitude. But, so I want to cover this. So Jay Inslee is the climate change presidential candidate. Is he going to be the candidate for president? Probably not. I was just having a discussion on Facebook with a friend of mine. He won't be the candidate, but the fact that he is in the race is a good thing. He brings this discussion to the table, and he makes it more important. And honestly, the only other candidate that I've heard actually address climate change in the way that it should be is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders said climate change is the most important issue we need to be talking about. And I covered that article. It was a few months ago. So let's see this from Jay Inslee from the debates last night.
We are the first generation to feel the sting of climate change, and we are the last that can do something about it. Our towns are burning, our fields are flooding, Miami is inundated. And we have to understand this is a climate crisis, an emergency, and it is our last chance in the administration, next one, to do something about it. But the most important thing on this, and the biggest decision for the American public, is who is going to make this the first priority. And I am the candidate and the only one who's saying this has to be the top priority of the United States, the organizing principle to mobilize the United States so that we can do what we've always done, lead the world and invent the future and put 8 million people to work.
Governor,
So that's powerful stuff by Jay Inslee, and he's right on the money. This is the last administration. 2020 is the last chance, if there is a chance, if we even have a chance, if there even is a window, if we could just assume that we know that there is a window. This is the last chance. And so, again, what is frustrating is he won't be the nominee, and that's unfortunate because whatever the next administration is, has to be the administration that says, okay, all hands on deck, nothing else matters, the entire economy needs to be retooled, and we need to go this way. And we need to do all these social programs as well, but it has to be about climate change first and not social programs first, or they all have to go in tandem, in lockstep, not... and it's going to be very difficult because there's just a huge, just a horde of walking dead, zombie, stupid ass Republican GOP nitwit, idiot, denier, fuckface, cheese dicks who are just don't fucking understand the situation, or don't want to understand the situation, or think that the economy is more important than your children's lives. These absolute insane, psychopathic, numbnut, fuckface. Can I cuss anymore in this video? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm sorry. But I made my point, which is, you have to actually go against an entire part of the population that is just not educated enough. So let's get rid of all the name calling that I just did, and I apologize. I'm just angry. That's just coming out of anger. There are a lot of people that understand that climate change is the problem. There are a lot of people that are beginning to understand how big of a problem it is. And we're going to have to educate the people that don't understand very, very quickly. And when they cannot be educated, they're just going to have to be just knocked out of the way. Like, look, no, sorry, you don't. Sorry, not listening. Your voice is not going to be heard right now. So you can either, you're either going to have to get on board or get off the train. And that's just how that's going to go. I understand what a difficult scenario this is, what a difficult turn of events is going to happen to actually enact anything that's going to even come close. But wouldn't it be wonderful if we had an administration that's had climate change as a priority and started to just put these things into motion, and people started to understand, yes, these are good things for the earth and these are good things for other people. And everybody was like, okay, hey, we can all get behind this. And we know that anybody that's against that is a psychopath and should not be listened to. Moving on to another. So Bernie is in the debates tonight. He is obviously he's the person I would put as a candidate because all of the other candidates only have partial policy platforms, partial policies. What am I trying to say? Their policies are only partially what Bernie Sanders has as his entire platform. So his entire platform is progressive, and it includes climate change, and it includes getting out of regime change wars. So, each one of the candidates kind of have something, that has to do with what Bernie is promoting. All of them mostly support Medicare for all, but a lot of them are lying. Possibly Elizabeth Warren is lying. Possibly Kamala Harris is lying. There are people that are like, oh yeah, Medicare for all. And as soon as they get into the office, they're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. We just couldn't do that, a la Obama. But Bernie Sanders wants that, and everybody else wants that. So why not just vote for Bernie Sanders? Why not just vote for Bernie Sanders? Because he encapsulates all of the other issues that all of the other candidates are bringing to the table. This is my endorsement for Bernie Sanders, and I proudly endorse Bernie Sanders for president, because just stop with all the, when you need somebody who can beat Trump. We already know that Bernie Sanders is the best person to beat Trump. We already know that everybody wants his progressive policies. And his policies, all of his policies taken together, are the least racist. They're the most anti-racist. They're the most helpful of all, for all people, poor, minority, women. All of his policies help the oppressed more so than any other candidate. So he's the least racist, least sexist, least, classist. He's the best, least warmongering. He's the best candidate. Period. So this is Bernie Sanders basically calling out false flags on mainstream media, which is pretty effing amazing.
But here's the main point that I want to make. If you look at the recent history of this country, I think we understand that the two worst foreign policy disasters were based on lies that came from the White House. You remember the so-called Gulf of Tonkin incident that led us to increased military involvement in Vietnam. And man, I could speak, that was my generation. 59,000 brave young men never came home from that war, and tens of thousands of more died, committed suicide, got into drugs when they came home. That was based on a lie. And then you look more recently at the war in Iraq, which I vigorously opposed because I did not believe Cheney, and I did not believe John Bolton, and I did not believe the Bush administration. Again, based on a lie that Saddam Hussein in Iraq had weapons of mass destruction.
Boom. On mainstream media, one of the top presidential candidates calls out false flags, the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and calls out the lie that got us into the Iraq war. Brings it out, and that's fairly amazing. And I'm going to actually interject something that I wasn't really going to bring up in this video, but did you all hear that the person that influenced Trump to call off the military strike on Iran, the recent one? So they were about to strike, and they were like, they had their finger on the button, and they were like, we're going to do this strike on Iran, and Trump was like, no. The person that talked him into that or influenced his decision on that was Tucker Carlson. Did you all hear that? Did anybody hear that news? That's validated. That's, widely validated. The New York Times reported on it. Pretty amazing stuff when you have a leading newscaster on Fox News, no less, who has all of a sudden has some strange progressive kind of ideas about regime change wars and military interventions, and he has the ear of the president. So other progressive channels have covered this, and thank God somebody like Tucker Carlson is on Fox News and saying things that are coherent and make sense and are actually logical, and and the president can listen to that and go, yeah, let's not do that. Fairly amazing times we live in, of course. So lastly, or maybe not lastly, this is Tulsi Gabbard, who is also one of my favorite candidates. If I had my druthers, it would be Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, vice presidential ticket, because Tulsi Gabbard is right on the money when it comes to interventionist wars and getting our troops home from Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria.
Trump and his cabinet, Mike Pompeo, John Bolton, and others are creating a situation that just a spark would light off a war with Iran, which is incredibly dangerous. That's why we need to de-escalate tensions. Trump needs to get back into the Iran nuclear deal and swallow his pride, put the American people first.
Whether we're talking about Iran, whether we're talking about Afghanistan, we've got to be completely engaged.
Is that what you will tell the parents of those 2 soldiers who were just killed in Afghanistan? Well, we just have to be engaged. As a soldier, I will tell you that answer is unacceptable. We have to bring our troops home from Afghanistan. We are
one more thing from Tulsi.
Better off in Afghanistan today than we were when this war began. This is why it's so important to have a president and commander-in-chief who knows the cost of war and who's ready to do the job on day one. I am ready to do that job when I walk into the Oval Office. Thank you very much.
All right. Powerful stuff from Tulsi Gabbard. So, these are the kind of ideas that, I don't know who Tucker Carlson has been listening to, but he sounds like he's been talking to Tulsi Gabbard a lot, or listening to people like Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders when they're saying, look, this is the wrong way to go. This is, the reasons why we're there are not reasons at all. They're not good reasons at all. And if we really are serious about caring for, our national interests and, not getting embroiled in, wars around the globe and spending trillions of dollars that we could use, for Medicare for all or education for all or housing, not having any more homeless people, that's what we should be doing. So anyways, I just want to bring these videos to you and these views to you, and thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.